So it's an interesting story of how I came to be living in Toronto right now. Basically, I've lived in Calgary my whole life, and I knew that I wanted something different. I wanted to move somewhere. So one night I was talking with my friend Ben. Ben Train, you guys might know him. Anyways. We're talking, and he's like, "Hey, it'd be cool if you moved here," and we were joking around. And, I thought about it, and, rather than procrastinating about the idea of moving, years later, I decided, why not do it right now? Why not do it right now? So I literally, uprooted. I left everything in Calgary, just came to Toronto, and I've never looked back ever since. The magic scene in Toronto is fantastic. But the big reason was, the film industry in Toronto is amazing. They call it Hollywood North, and that's the biggest interest right now. Magic, for me, is my main interest right now, but I want to start getting into filmmaking. So Toronto is very good for that kind of thing, and very live. So I hope to do stuff there. So, this is the microphone? What's the microphone? This is the microphone? So what's this thing? This is just the recording device. The transmitter? Okay, that's fine. So a nice tip for anybody who is serious about performing is something that I like to do is to start off with something super simple. A lot of people, when they start to perform, especially if they're new at it, you'll find that you can be very nervous and you might get the shaky hands. I know myself, my hands are very unstable. Like if you look at that, that's very unstable. So by doing something very simple that doesn't require as much skill, it allows you to focus more on the performance aspect, and it helps you get all those nerves and butterflies out of your stomach by just doing something very simple and easy. So yeah, start with something simple, and then once you get that out of your system, you can start to do something a lot more technically advanced if that's what you like to do. So this is, it's my opinion. There's obviously, everybody has an opinion. This is just my thought on the whole process, but I feel that in any type of routine, it's always good to have about 2 to 3 phases, and no more than that. Obviously it depends on the situation, but there's something I like to talk about. It's called the impossibility factor. And what that is basically when we're performing magic, we're showing people something different, something that they've never seen before, something that's impossible, right? So the more phases that you do in the routine, the less impossible it seems to become, For instance, a card rises up through the deck onto the top. You do that once, the spectator thinks that can't be possible. How could a solid piece of matter move through the entire deck up to the top without me seeing anything happen, right? So the first time you do it is super powerful, and then each time you do it after that, it becomes, even though each phase can build upon each other, you can have multiple phases that are better than the first, but each time you do it, it starts to become less and less impossible, because the more you do it, the more they realize, oh, well, he's doing it quite a bit, so maybe it's not as impossible as I first thought it was, So my thinking is that if you keep it to 2 to 3 phases, it's the perfect amount, because then you can still build upon each phase with a more, unique idea and still kind of keep within that impossibility factor. So I like to try to keep my routines to 2 to 3 phases, but that's just me. You can do what you want. I don't care. Okay. People often ask me about my character, and it's true. We all play characters of ourselves, and that's the thing, is that you want the character to be true to who you are, Some people can pull off, the completely different character, like I'm sure Ed Alonzo isn't really what he's like on stage. I wouldn't know because I don't know him, but some people can play a completely different person on stage than off stage. But if you can't do that, then my best advice is to embrace the character that you are off stage, but kind of emphasize a lot of the traits on stage. For instance, I'm very clumsy when it comes to card magic and stuff, and I do drop a lot of cards. So rather than try to fight against that and be the suave magician, that I want to be, you know, I emphasize the fact that I'm clumsy. You know, in my performance, I'll start by, you know, maybe dropping a couple cards, making a joke out of it. And so that kind of sets it up so that if during my magic I ever do drop a card, you know, rather than, oh, he messed up, you know, now people think, oh, it's part of his character, it's fine, you know. So that's something that I really stand by, is to embrace your character, you know, the flaws in everything, you know, and you'll find that you'll become a lot more comfortable performing if you do.